iteration or volume 11, month 13, changing up the format slightly to give a more channel-wide feel. What have you noticed or seen in the last month or so that's kind of piqued your interest, or something that you feel is worth discussing and reflecting on that's impacting the broader channel as opposed to just us personally?
In an ideal scenario, like when you're planning out for, the new financial year or even H2, depending on how brands kind of prefer to work, you typically want to do that well in advance. Obviously, it's going to give you the best chance at like securing packages at preferable rates, and getting access to inventory that because supply tightens up the closer that you get obviously to activating. So particularly around those kind of macro like big retail events. Obviously, like we had a few clients kind of jump on board at a time where they were basically planning a month out at a time. So we kind of took July as a period for a few of those partners to just kind of pause and, while we're running kind of BAU activity with a few kind of bursts here and there, just pause to look at how their programs have gone in H1 and, take stock of like where they're at and really look at the entirety of the retail environment for H2, and plan accordingly for the rest of the year. So like taking that pause is a really good way to like it's not a revolutionary thought by any means. Obviously, everyone kind of does this type of stuff, but it is a really good way of understanding, like giving context to the results that you delivered in H1, whether that you had a really hot half or not. It kind of helps you understand why things have gone the way that they have.
Mhm.
And then obviously like how they're going to end up for the remainder of the year so you can kind of adjust accordingly. So we, particularly like in the tech category, for one of our clients, like taking a step back to look at, some data we had seen, a trend that we'd kind of seen in performance and, understanding that, um, you know, the barrier to consumption on, household goods that are seen as like luxuries or are seen as kind of like, like a big household item purchase, that barrier is increasing, you know, looking at like inflationary pressures, looking at, mortgage rate changes, looking at, general consumer confidence and appetite, and, really keying in on how important it is to win, how difficult it is to stimulate demand when you want to as a brand, as opposed to when the
Yeah.
market, when people are actively in market to make purchases, that like elasticity of demand and like understanding how important it is to kind of win, during those macro periods. And then navigating like how the affiliate space is changing, from pure performance to, a bit of pay to play, mixed with performance. It's a very kind of dynamic, a more dynamic environment, and an increasingly dynamic environment, like more so than it has been in the past. So yeah, I think zooming out is something that everyone does, but I think really like taking a step back to understand like where the market is in terms of, and when I say the market, I say where your consumers are at in terms of their appetite to make purchases in your category with your brand, and understanding the factors that are inhibiting them, and then also driving them to make purchases. Like doing that, even though it at sometimes completely can feel a bit blue sky and can feel a bit like, or like, is this really kind of, applicable to our channel?
Mm.
Almost looking at it like as like a retail analysis, and then kind of applying that knowledge to like your program, I think actually opened us up and like kind of like made for some really fruitful discussion with this particular client. And I think in future, it's like something I want to do is a bit of our service product, like not just that we're like focusing on performance media and affiliates and, trends that are happening in our world, but then also taking a step back to think about what our clients' products teams are thinking about and what their marketing teams are thinking about and what their trade teams are thinking about. Because inevitably we all kind of operate in the same space. Even though we kind of speak different languages, like the end result is always very similar. It's revenue, it's sales, it's new customer growth, it's, increasing lifetime value and things like that. So if we are eventually working to the same goals, we should be kind of trying to understand everyone's worlds. So that was something that went really well. It was like, I think something that was born out of like things that we'd like to do in our previous roles, but now that we've kind of given the opportunity to build our own product, like I think that was really exciting and fun. And yeah, I definitely want to do more of it in the future. So still implementing the findings from like a lot of those chats. So we'll kind of understand where we net out with this approach at the end of the year and beyond. But that was a nice little kind of like pivot and a way to get some really good kind of client engagement and do some fun and exciting stuff with a few of the brands that we're working with. So that's kind of what I've experienced or kind of seen this last month. Sorry, that's a bit of a rant, but
No, it's good.
What have you got for this month that you've seen?
As much as we ourselves as people in positions within the industry and stuff, we've deliberately not commented on the theme of artificial intelligence and AI and stuff, but going to events recently, kind of broader media events, it's just becoming a topic that's almost unavoidable. And kind of got me thinking at it from three lenses. One, what it means for the affiliate channel. Two, like broadly speaking. So to your point around consumer behavior and patterns and demand, like how is the affiliate channel going to evolve in line with this massive evolution of tech that runs alongside it, and how is it going to change how consumers behave? Which no one knows. To what it means for agencies. So us and obviously agencies like us, there's already tech platforms that we work with that are bringing out iterations of their service that incorporate AI and really streamline the process, especially around reporting and data analysis and providing insights, which is for some agencies, I wouldn't say so much us right now with the clients that we have, but in our old roles was one of the pillars of service that we provided in terms of garnering insights and analyzing data and chucking that out into actionable pieces of work for clients. Platforms are becoming more and more, they're incorporating it more and more into their service. So what does that mean for agency servicing further down the line, and how do we pivot to make sure that we're using that in the right way but not relying on it, and what's the best thing for the client? And then see the publishers. And again, no one really knows this. I think I don't think it's by any means the end of any publisher type, but I do think some types of affiliates are going to feel the pinch more than others. So from the only clear theme coming from every single chat around artificial intelligence is that there is a working hypothesis that there will be a massive demand for human touch and human interaction as it goes full circle. So short term, people think it will go, everyone will purely rely on it, and then it will get to a point where they crave human interaction, and therefore user generated content is only really going to boom. So there's an arm of the channel where content and influencers is going to be almost more in demand, arguably. Then you've got the marketplaces, which again probably won't be as severely impacted because they're value exchange. And then there's other types of affiliates that may have to pivot into one of those other two options. But I think for us, it's just, we don't know about artificial intelligence broadly speaking, but it is a macro impact that's going to hit our channel and is going to impact our channel quite severely, as it is with the rest of media, we know. So just understanding and being ahead of that, because clients are starting to ask me about it. We've got a meeting with a key client of ours in a few weeks with very, very senior members of staff, and literally one of the talking points is what impact is AI going to have on the aggregator space. So
for sure,
making sure that we're aware of the fact, and we will be, because everyone in market is talking about it.
Of
So
course, yeah,
it's one of those. But it appeared very prevalent at the event I was at a couple of weeks ago. It was like two-thirds of the content had an AI tinge to it.
yeah,
So it's going to become more and more prevalent, and that's
yeah,
something
yeah.
that I think everyone needs to be across.
Cool, man. Well, look, we've spent a bit of time talking about what's happened in the last month or what we've kind of heard in market, but what are you looking forward to for September and beyond?
Um, Probably follows that theme of, we've got a few events
Yes.
coming up, and we haven't had any for a while. I think, like, it's always this time of year where they come up and they're the big events, and it's always quite energizing to go to listen to obviously really good people speak, and also hear what brands are doing in the space. Even the event that I was at the other week, hearing an extremely recognized and established brand that maybe from the outside looking in, you would argue maybe doesn't need to rely on the affiliate channel as a source of acquisition because their brand almost takes care of it. Well, they were kind of saying that you can never rest on your laurels, and the affiliate space is becoming more of a pillar of their media strategy. Is really nice to hear. So you got that. You've obviously got the innovation element, and then you've got the networking piece. With It's always nice catching up with people that we know. It's a small space, so yeah, I would say, and obviously you're down for one of the events now, which will be really good, so we
Yes.
can go to them together. So I would say that, yeah, getting out in market and chatting to people, and listening to how people are using the channel, and validating it, and is definitely been quite energizing up till now. And I reckon they roll into September. So I reckon for the next month or so, that's what
Yeah.
I'll be looking forward to. But
Yeah, good
what about
stuff.
you, man?
Yeah, I think this is kind of the last. That's great, by the way, and I completely agree. I'm coming up for a few things, but yeah, we're just talking about the benefit of just being in front of people and just like, you
Yeah,
know, yeah, things can get very transactional over email, obviously, but it's like really nice to be able to show your appreciation of people and obviously like learn from them in person. So yeah, very much looking forward to that. I think like in my opinion, like, and then especially from experience last year, like September through to early November is a time that, you know, it's where deals are kind of finalized for the year. It's also a time where, we're super busy from a planning and activation perspective as well, right? Because the retail calendar is just so busy, particularly in kind of November. November's the new kind of December now. So not saying it's going to get quiet in December by any means, but this is kind of when it's all really happening, like I don't want to say the storm, but
I know
the
exactly what you
the,
mean.
the winds of new business are in full force, and the kind of retail kind of calendars in full force as well. So that's like a very energizing and like exciting time. So I'm glad that we get to kind of connect in person during that period as well, and also get a feel for the market at the same time.
Yeah,
It's kind of the perfect time to be in affiliates, really. So,
agreed.
yeah, this is like our Super Bowl, I guess you could say. So, yeah, just looking forward to that. Looking forward to getting all the energy, kind of getting in and amongst all the energy around it. But yeah, really keen to keep the momentum going that we've had. Particularly at the end of Q2, and we've kind of had a bit of a stabilizing period now, which has been really nice to just like build like, really kind of mutually beneficial client relationships, build product, like, make sure that everyone's kind of happy with how we're servicing their programs and business. And then now we kind of have a new baseline to grow from again. So seeing what we can do on that front will be pretty exciting, man.
Yeah, it's coming into a big quarter, like you said. So yeah, the reflections are going to be interesting, I reckon, between now and the end of the year.
Yeah,
Might
yeah.
turn up to a few of them looking a bit tired, but it'd be good. That's what we want.